Hi guys, Kim here at Olive City Homestead, and as my kids would say, it's been a minute. In today's video, we're going to harvest some carrots. Yes, in May. I can hardly believe it. At least around here, it feels like summer already. It's been 90, 95 degrees all week. But harvest carrots I did. I'd say about half the carrots I harvested were crispy and sweet and wonderful, and I'm roasting most of them to eat tonight. The other half was, just too old. But all the carrot greens, that's another story. And I did something really fun with them. But first, let me explain for just a moment where I've been and why there hasn't been a video lately. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you are a person that's been viewing some of my videos in the past, you might realize I haven't posted for 2 weeks. And part of that's because April was a super busy month, and part of it is because I had some health issues going on. One of which was some oral surgery, unexpected and not too pleasant, and the recovery from that has taken a while. It's not fully better yet, but most of the way. But yeah, I had a super busy month with a lot of unexpected things that came up that I had to attend to, some of those urgent things. And then, of course, it's one of the busiest months of the year for gardening, getting all your seedlings transplanted, which I have yet to do. I mean, I've done some of them, but certainly not all. And direct sowing around here in Zone 9B. And again, in Zone 9B, where it's warm and so much of what I grow is perennial, it sort of involves cleaning up some of that, pruning back, and then the fun stuff, getting some new plants and rearranging some things in the garden. And right now I'm sitting under an umbrella that I recently got for this table, so I have some shade during the day to sit under and look out at my garden, in all my spare time. And you'll see that in my garden tour, which will be coming up very soon. I was going to take my May garden tour yesterday. I had a nice free day, but the winds were so intense, it was just impossible. And this morning they still were. It's now a little bit calmer, actually a lot calmer, but now I have other things I have to do. So I'll be taping that sometime this week and getting it out soon. Meanwhile, I have been thinking of you guys and taping some things around the garden. If you watched my carrot video back at the end of February, when I harvested the bed and I was really happy with the results, I did leave some of the carrots behind and wondered how they would do with the heat that comes so early here in Northern California. And a few days ago, I took a little video of what they look like at this point and realized, I really need to get those out of there. I want to plant something else in that bed now, so I need the space. So today I went ahead and harvested the carrots, and I cut off the greens, and I created my own pesto recipe. I made pesto years ago, many, many years ago, with store-bought ingredients, but this time around I used, other than the olive oil, and the pine nuts, I used all my own ingredients, and I will put the recipe in the description, but it turned out great. So I'm going to go ahead and show you now what I did and what you can do too. It's so easy and very much worth it. Well, the tiny baby carrots that hadn't done as well over the winter that I left in the bed back in February, I think was when I was harvesting. They are now big and I should harvest them. In fact, a couple of them, maybe I let get too far because they have gone to flower. No, the flowers haven't opened yet, but from what I've read, the carrots will be bitter and not too edible once the flowers have appeared. However, the flowers themselves are actually beautiful and delicious, and if I let them go to seed, then I would have carrot seed. I'm not going to do that though. That sounds a bit too arduous for me. But I am going to let that one big one flower and see how pretty they are, and maybe try the flowers on some salad. But meanwhile, I'm going to dig up the carrots from these smaller ones and see how they did. Because when I left them in the ground, they were only an inch or two tall. They just hadn't grown. They had been crowded out by the other ones and shaded out. And so, yeah, now I'm going to harvest them and see what we've got here. Well, there are all the carrots I have ended up with for my second harvest. I'm kind of surprised because these were all super tiny, like 2 inches, 3 inches tall at the most back in February when I left them in. And I thought, we'll give them a chance. And sure enough, in 2 months, they all grew. I'd say 95% of them grew into big carrots. And I'm really looking forward to eating them now because still being on a soft diet with my oral surgery healing, I can roast and mash these and they're going to be so good. Soft, easy to go down, tasty, and healthy. Plus, I am going to take some of these carrot greens and make pesto with them. And I will let you know how that goes. It's going to be the first time I've done that in a long, long time, and certainly the first time I've done it from homegrown carrot greens. So I'm really looking forward to that too. Oh, and look, I found more potatoes in that bed with the carrots. I mean, I threw potato peels in that bed 3 or 4 years ago, and every year I get potatoes. For 3 years now, I've gotten harvest of potatoes. First year about 100, 120, last year 70 or 80, and now just a few more. I can't imagine it would happen again, but I wouldn't be shocked to see a potato or two next spring. Does that look appetizing or what? It is so good, you guys. I mixed carrot greens with equal purple tree kale, about 2 cups of each. And then I added salt and pepper. I added a little onion, a little red onion from my garden, some garlic. And I added about 1 cup of pine nuts. And I pulsed that a bit, till it was mostly smooth. And then I started adding olive oil, and I ended up adding about 2/3 of a cup of olive oil. And this tastes so good. I'll put the recipe in the description below, but I definitely am going to be freezing a lot of those carrot greens so that I can make this pesto throughout the year. You can, of course, use any kind of green really with it to counterbalance the, slightly bitter carroty taste of the carrot greens. You can use spinach. I chose purple tree kale because I love the taste of that and it worked great. You can use different nuts. You can use cashews or whatever nuts you want to. I chose to use pine nuts. I experimented with the flavors. I added onion. I like creating my own recipes. And as long as you have the ratio right of greens to oil, then it works. And as long as you add the oil gradually, you don't really have a problem. So this turned out delicious and was a fun surprise, a fun reward for saving those little scrawny carrots back in February and letting them grow to their full potential. And I get to have some roasted, smashed up carrot this evening. So thanks for joining me today, folks. I hope you enjoyed the fun carrot pesto recipe and just the simple pleasure of being able to harvest something like carrots in the spring, right before you're getting ready for summer veggies. And you can do that too. If you are in a cooler climate, you're already doing that probably. But if you're in a warm climate, you can do it too. And now that I realize I can, I'm going to plant some carrots, a second round of them, a little later in the fall, early winter. And I think I'm going to put them in an area I know that in the spring will get a little more shade than where I have them now, because where they were now, they're in full sun nonstop. And that way I think that they'll grow well and all the carrots will be usable when I harvest them. Also, maybe I should try harvesting before the flowers form. That would help too. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more veggie, fruit, and flower videos from my simple homestead, then go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and you'll know whenever I upload new content, which usually, I promise, is once a week, just not in April. And stay tuned because very soon I'm going to be doing the May garden tour, as well as a video about ginger. And it's a little video that a friend of mine recently tagged me in, which will be fun to do too. And remember, you can create the life you want. Don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise, including yourself. Well, hi. What are you doing? Did you get lost? Where's your flock? That's a turkey. We often get wild flocks of them, but I don't know where all her friends are. She's hiding behind the old olive stump. Bye. Have a great week, guys, and I'll see you soon.